How good. How are you? Good.
Anders is his last name.
They had a close look at the P, Enders, Endress, I said, and.
That looked good to me.
Yeah, there was, when my kids grew up, that's what I meant. Because our kids are somewhat rough in
Oh, I have my sister now.
one, I got, it's one of your sons graduating with my youngest.
Why is that?
29.
Oh,
Well, you know, Andy, you're, Nathan. Yeah, Andy graduated in summer. Andy's got a,
Did you get down?
Andy's got a second one.
It's awesome.
where's that? Oh, okay.
Parkway place.
Greenwood Park.
Oh, Greenwood Parkway, okay.
Isn't that what it's called? That's, down there.
Oh, that's.
And they,
Smitty's train.
it's two Smitties, or it used to be Smitty and the Son, it used to be, is it still?
That's what he just
Smitty's
said.
train. There's just horizontal days at the end.
Yeah. But from the other way, isn't it?
No. Here's what at the end of the road, like the west end of the road, right the last house.
Next to, Madison?
Probably. Put an empty lot there?
What do you think?
I wouldn't know. Not very good with measurements.
Okay.
Did you sign up? Sign it.
I understand.
People do Saturday.
I was right at four, I just like to work at four.
The last thing was that.
Yeah,
Because I'm.
he was with us Saturday, and we looked at property. Yeah, I walked in, he gets.
Well, we didn't sell the big ones now.
What's this
Your
one?
door squeak, go ahead.
Next one?
Like you understand.
I'm just bystander.
You guess that?
There we go.
Over here.
Oh, now we can start. There you go.
We were gonna start at ATV.
I would have. I get concerned too if I don't show up.
You ready? Okay, it's 7:30. We'll call our meeting to order. The location of the fire exit doorways are at either end of the hallway in case of emergency. The AED machine hangs on the wall directly across from that doorway. Please turn off all cell phone and papers. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Norman Vaz.
Here.
Rocky Ellsworth.
Here.
Ed Tate.
Here.
Carl Ross.
Here.
Jonathan Vogel.
Here. Okay. Give you a minute of March 15th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 15th, 2021.
Second.
Motion made by Rocky Ellsworth, second by Carl Ross to approve the minutes of March 15th, 2021, as presented. Clerk, please pull the vote.
Norman Vaz.
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth.
Aye.
Ed Tate.
Aye.
Carl Ross.
Aye.
Jonathan Vogel.
Aye.
Okay. Would you like to show the proof of our public hearings, Cheryl? Okay, thank you. Rebecca Scheiker, this will be a continuation of your, I think you folks know the way pretty well.
Here every day.
Okay. I believe I was there Saturday. I believe it looks like it fits okay.
Mhm.
Any complications or anything that bothered moving it?
No,
No,
no, it was easy.
Okay,
I did receive a phone call from the neighbor to the north.
And I'm president.
Oh, he is present.
okay.
Regarding, the issue, with, rolling over the septic.
Well, I have a number of issues. So we'll
Well,
go in
yeah.
order and I'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll get your chance.
You know, yeah,
Just-
I don't know what it was, and I just wanted to let her know that.
So, that, I did get a phone call on that.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, at this point in time, we'll reopen the public hearing. Can we discuss this for 6 months, 4 months? I don't know, I've lost track of it. I'm reopening a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the proposal, please give your name and address. Now you can-
Hi, my name is Dan Tyrone, my wife Carol,
Okay.
9621 Beechwood Park Road. Can I see the proof of publication? Because you're saying that it's a continuation of a hearing that was on March 15th, but I believe the notice for that hearing was defective, and that the notice of the hearing had the south side of the property, and there was a second notice sent that I don't believe the board called, and I wasn't sure if that was republished. We can deal with that because that's a ministerial act, but I'm questioning whether the hearing is even valid. Since you have continuation with an invalid notice, did the board call the hearing, and was it published and posted in the appropriate timeframe? But like I said, it's a ministerial act. Mr. Vaz is talking about a continuation of a hearing, but is this a new hearing? The next
It's a
ministerial act.
continuation of the existing hearing with the new publications with the correct statement.
Within the appropriate
Yes.
timeframe. And then the next question is if regarding a building permit for a shed, because I understand from your law, there is a permit required to build a shed. There's a permit required to remove a shed. So are we having a hearing on the construction or the relocation? Again, I'm not sure which action you're talking about. Again, it's ministerial. And as the building inspector will tell you, it's just a formality. But this board exists because of land use formalities. Now, let's talk about the problems I have. And first, I want to say about Steve and Becky. Much better neighbors than we previously had. And I'm disappointed that I have to stand here because of some errors on their part, but a failure of government in total, starting with the county of Monroe. who allows properties to change hands without requiring a septic review as a matter of closing. So starting there, that would be one of the problems. But I don't know what we're talking about, whether the removal or the construction of the shed. Is your notice defective? Those are ministerial things. Which building permit applies? Have you called a hearing in accordance with the law? Have you published? And now we get to the real issues about the shed. And the real issues about the shed are your ordinance not only talks about side lot setbacks and rear lot setbacks, but 10 feet from a residential structure. It's not 10 feet from either residential structure. It's less than 10 from both. Your ordinance talks about an 8-foot wall. I don't know where you measure that from. You measure it from ground level, you measure it from foundation, but it may be greater than an 8-foot wall. But the real problem is drainage water. There's too much roof line on that property. There is insufficient septic. There is already pollution, which is a health hazard. And I have documentary evidence of coliform in excess of 2,000 parts per million, when I believe the standard is less than 10. So now we're shedding rainwater into a septic system because of the roof. They've already got a drainage problem with water under their house. They're pumping water to the house property next door. The previous owner pumped water behind, which leached into my basement. And now we're putting the roof line right in line with 2 leach fields and 2 septic tanks and 1 that's failing. I believe in accordance with Town Law 267B, to grant the variance, this body has to consider a detriment to nearby properties. Is not coliform on the ground a health hazard to the properties? And is it not a detriment? Inability to maintain its own drainage within the property and to spread that. You're in the LWRP. Are you not required in the LWRP, when you are creating a health hazard, to go before the planning board by your own plan and to consider secret? Okay, so we've got a variance from side lot, rear lot, residential buildings, all, none of it within your own boundaries. Whether the requester's variance is substantial. So, is it substantial? I put a very large shed on the property line in line with a failing leach field and septic that's now going to get driven over. I believe that is substantial, besides all the other factors about the buildings. Is there a 267D town law, letter C? Is it an adverse impact on the environmental conditions in the neighborhood? Fecal coliform on my lawn. Do I need to say more about environmental conditions? Was this difficulty self-created? As I said at the beginning of the discussion, this started with failure of government to govern at the county level. And now the town's going to exacerbate it. But they built the shed. And somehow, when it was on the other side of the property, the south side, where there was vacant land where the water would shed, that didn't work. So you decided to put it in the worst possible position on the property. You might have been better off putting it on top of the septic in the leach field, because then the water would have shed away. Okay? It's unfortunate that I have to stand here next to very nice young people who are in a tough spot. But like I said, government hasn't helped them. And you put me in this position of adversarial to my neighbors. But it's a fire hazard, it's a pollution hazard, it's self-created, and I can't believe that in an Article 78, I would not be successful. Now, maybe that's where it has to go, because government's again going to fail. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I would like to clarify a couple of things. As far as the leach field, our board had no jurisdiction over any of that. You talk about all these different tests. I have no idea.
I understand
You
that.
may be accurate, you may not be. But it
I understand
does not
that.
fit into our criteria.
It's causing an environmental hazard because of the roof, which is now draining more water onto the property that the property cannot handle. That's a fact.
Well,
That's
in your
okay.
opinion.
Well, no, I think, well,
No.
you're right. It's my opinion, but have you done the calculations about how much roof line is now on that property? How much water can it take? How much sewage is it accepting? So if this board cannot accept an environmental hazard, then why does 267B of town law tell you you have to consider it? You have to consider it. You have no control over it. I agree with you. You have no control. But the control you have is to not allow structures to be built where there is insufficient drainage for the structure. And that's what you'll be doing with this rezone. You can't solve the septic problem. That's why I said it started at the county. They should have done their job, but they won't do their job because there's no money. But your job is you're in the LWRP. There's a very specific document on file with the Secretary of State about actions of anti-governmental bodies that impact the health and environment, and there has to be a special note in the LWRP. So you're right, you have no control, but you must consider it by your own words.
Of course, one of the good things, if I understand it correctly, the sewer probably will be installed within a year, which does take care of that whole situation.
If they can negotiate with Jack Howard and get plugged into his line, I'll pay for the truck to come across the road in a year.
I only know what the echelon tells me, I do not know. It will be.
And actually, that's one of the things you have no control over, and what's gonna happen in the future shouldn't be based on what you do today.
I believe, I'm kind of a little mystified. We've had at least 3-4 months of public hearings on this very same shed about 20 feet further west, and nothing was ever said about anything.
Well, I think it's significantly more than 20 feet further west.
It could be, I mean,
It's
it's
probably
only a
75.
very narrow
It's
lot.
probably 75 or 80 feet. And my opinion today is not valid because I didn't have an opinion when you started this in July. And maybe I had no opinion because of your defective notice that said the south side. Your original notice said the south side, and it was only corrected after I spoke to you and the attorney. And then everybody said,
No, it's
forgive me.
corrected prior to.
Everybody said, oh shit, we better get this out. I got a notice dated
No, you-
Thursday. I talked to Maureen on Monday. The notice was postmarked on Thursday.
But it was discussed at the meeting before that.
Well, I got,
And that's
what,
how
I got
it came
a
about.
notice for this meeting about, it was incorrect and then I got it corrected. But that doesn't matter. Like I said, those are ministerial things, and I guess those
I'd like
things.
to speak for, sir, just for a minute.
This is my opportunity as a taxpayer, not your opportunity as a building inspector.
Are you
On these
almost through?
ministerial things, if opposed to that, I guess we talk about them in Article 78. But that's a waste of time. That's a
You
complete
do
waste.
whatever you think
No,
you should
but
do.
that's a waste of time to discuss the ministerial items. Let's just talk about the reality. Because the ministerial items can always be repaired. So there's no point in having that discussion. The reality is this a health hazard? Is it a fire hazard? And is your notice even right, since you're not asking for a variance to be within 10 feet of my home? You're not asking for a variance to be within 10 feet of their residence? You're asking for rear and side lot setbacks. And there are very specific things in your own ordinance that say you need a residential structure.
I might inform you just for fact that our board, that's why we're here, the code says 10, whatever it says, we do have the right to set a different criteria. We do it all the time.
You're
for
absolutely-
many people
You're
to
absolutely
help
right.
them out. That's the reason for it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. That's why when I was told by the building inspector that the attorney told her that this was just a formality, they could move it. That's why I started out at the beginning of this hearing and said, everything you do is a formality. And you're allowed, you could tell them they can have it right up against the house if it's on their property. So I understand you have that power. But you should be judicious, reasonable, and consider. I feel horrible for these people. They have a small lot or a small house, and they have no place to put this stuff. I shouldn't
I
have.
know that. I'm very well aware of that.
And
that's why we're trying to correct this situation, help these young people.
I hear you.
Were there wrong things done prior to the building house? Yes, there was. But that's history, and these folks have a right to come in front of this board
Absolutely.
and say, look, can we work this out? And that's exactly what we're doing. And we've done it. We had one little error on the south instead of east, which is very minor.
South instead of north.
It was republished, and that's why we're here today. Okay?
Well, no, I am asking, were you required to publish that you're less than 10 feet? Like I said, that doesn't matter. You can republish
It
it at the
doesn't
hearing
matter.
tomorrow.
You're correct.
The real problem is, are you meeting the standard to approve this zoning and 267B is now law? I'm of the opinion you're on. If this body believes they are, then I guess you'll approve it, and I have to do what I have to do.
Fine with me.
I mean, I understand that. I hold on no will. That's the process. That's America. I believe in it.
Anything further?
Not unless you want to correct my misstatements, because I would appreciate having my misstatements.
Well, I want to
corrected.
give Cheryl an opportunity to say something.
The last notice that was in, that was incorrect. It was incorrect only because after that notice had already gone to bed, what they had decided to do, a new site plan came to light, was brought forward to us from the kids and someone else in the neighborhood, and that's when we made the change. We had already gone to bed, we couldn't accept that one that was in the legal notice last time, so we had to change it. That's why it's changed, and that's why they're here.
Like I said, the ministerial parts,
Well, and the notice too that went out after you spoke to me on the phone was done in the proper time frame. So Cheryl did do what she was supposed to do in the proper time frame.
well, I guess I would think the board has to call the hearing, not just Cheryl publish the notice.
They,
So I would think the board has to call it, then someone publishes and posts within the time frame. I don't think the building inspector has the authority to call the hearing. But again, we're talking about ministerial acts that I don't care about. I talk about-
Cheryl did not call for a public hearing. The board, when they came in for their application, made
No, I mean
a
the
motion,
correction, the
to-
correction of the public hearing from
and they did
south to
that,
north.
and they did that at last month's hearing. The board made that decision to publish a new public hearing.
That's great.
And-
Like I said, we're talking about minutia.
Right.
The real thing is this structure too large for where it's been put? Will it not maintain its own drainage? Is it a fire hazard? And is it self-imposed?
The drainage and, well, I can't remember what the other thing is you said.
Fire.
Our planning board issues. Not, the fire is there, that's part of their criteria that they have to go through before they make a motion on.
Well, in the LWRP, doesn't even this body require to consider the health hazard?
And that's, the environmental is part of their
Yeah,
criteria,
as I said, the environmental
absolutely.
part of the
But the
criteria.
drainage is
And then
not
aren't they
part.
required in the LWRP when there is a health condition to refer it to planning to consider secret?
You're the first person who's brought this up, and these young people have been here, I believe, for 4 to 5 months. And I don't,
You want to penalize me,
no, I'm not saying that.
or well, you want to penalize Mr. Boss, and now you want to penalize me for taking my opportunity to talk, because you both said to me, it's the first time you've heard from me.
But what we're saying is you're saying to the board, they're not taking into consideration environmental concerns.
No, I'm
But
saying I
what
think
we're
they have
saying-
to.
Right, but they have,
Time's up, but it's an open hearing.
Thank you, Rocky.
We're here for other people.
Thank you.
so they are going to now, if they want to, I'm not in control of what they do here as a board. If they close the public hearing, they'll take it into consideration now when they make their motion. You're trying to say they haven't been taking it in consideration.
No.
They will when, now that it's been brought up to them,
Maureen,
and they know it.
I apologize if I've inferred that they haven't taken into account. I am inferring that they must, in their decision, take the factors into account that I've cited. I believe that's in the law. It's not me saying it. 267B cites each of those factors.
Absolutely, and they all have, we
You
all
know,
have
the
the
cards right
criteria.
here.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah, so that, I'm not saying you haven't, I'm saying you must, and I'm pointing out what I believe are the points related to 267B. I apologize if I've taken too much of your time and been too forceful in protecting my property. Have a good evening.
You too, thank you for coming. Anyone else wish to speak for or against this proposal? If not, I declare this public hearing closed. Okay, board, we've heard information. I will go through the criteria right now. Number one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. This is probably, can go different ways. If we consider a shed, it's an 8 by 10. I don't know what you board, what that?
Are there other sheds in the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, one right behind it. Sheds are becoming very common prior to conditions that we live in today's world. If you don't have something in the shed or protect it, it probably won't be around long. And that's fact, that's not nothing I'm taking off the top of my head. That's one of the factors why we've allowed many more sheds, especially small ones. They're not anchored to the ground, they just sit there, they can be easily removed. So we've been looked very favorably to sheds to try to help people out, to have some place to put their lawnmower. It would be an ATV, it could be bag of fertilizer, I don't know. In my opinion, the roof line on that shed being an 8 by 10, the runoff is, yes, you do get some runoff, but it's very minimal. So it is small in nature. I don't know, board, what you would like to say, yes or no?
Basically, the water on the property would be the same either way, but.
I know it's not my turn to speak, but the water on the property would not be the same.
Okay, board, give me an answer, yes or no, whatever it is, it is. All I'm saying is there are other sheds, many sheds all over properties along not just Telford, but the whole lakefront. So it does fit in with the character of the neighborhood.
Polluting septic.
Sir, the public hearing is closed.
Okay. I apologize.
You're okay, I just, this thing could go on forever, you know, and all we're trying to do is help two kids that have had several problems, not always.
Not imposed by me. Like I said,
So
the failure of
trying to
many,
work it out.
failure of many.
So what's your answer?
I tend to lean towards no.
Okay, whatever you say.
I don't think it's gonna be an undesirable change, basically the same as everywhere else. But I'm only one member on the board, so.
I agree, there's other sheds right there, there's one right behind it.
I know.
And that's why we looked at it, you know, to see what the neighborhood was.
Okay, the answer is no. Number two, what are the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some feasible method other than an area variance? No, there is no other one.
On a substandard lot like that.
I mean, the lot is not a good lot. Number three, what are the requested area variance is substantial?
Yes.
Yeah. Whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood district.
Yes, listening to the gentleman's conversation tonight, it will because of a poor septic system, but that's new information we haven't had in the past.
Okay,
Again,
so
that's I mean, we didn't know anything about the septic in the past, that it was weak or failing or anything like that, or any of these other issues.
Wasn't any of that in any of the paperwork done for closings for the house?
Yeah, but they don't get that.
We don't get that information. We just know what, when you come in and there's discussion and, you know, the notices go out, and then people have opportunity to speak like this gentleman did tonight, and tonight's the first we've heard anything about it.
okay, the question I would probably ask is, that shed, does it actually affect the environmental conditions? Does it? That's a tough one, I'm not saying that completely.
Well, what I was saying, it moves the water, but it doesn't change the amount of water on your property. It just, over that 80 square foot, the water doesn't go
8
there.
by 10 is 80 square foot. The water runs off instead of goes in.
It moves, like I said, it moves the water, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I only wanted to, but I would tend to say it's not gonna have a big impact. But
No, it's, and you know, the thing, probably more than anything is the comment that was made is if you end up having a lot of traffic over there, which, I mean, that would certainly be a factor if there's problems with the septic and you end up using that as a driveway or a lot of traffic in and out of the shed.
There's a back way in, that's the way I usually go. I mean, we really don't walk through in between the houses, there's only 10 feet in between the houses,
Yeah,
maybe
I
12
would
feet.
walk through the back way.
I have pictures of the ATV parked in front of it.
I mean, that is our property. I should be allowed to park it there temporarily. It was,
Yeah, well, my personal opinion on the environment, I don't think it affects it because it's just a shed. It's kind of, you're not building, building that's got a cellar or digging in the ground or cement. It's just a little, and it really is a small shed. It's not a big shed. So your answer is yes or no?
I tend to say no, but I'm going to side with you.
Well, I'm gonna say no.
I see.
Okay. Number 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created with consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the zoning board of appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. That probably is a yes.
Yes.
Okay, board, time for a decision. Boy, this thing has really gone on for months. Would there be, I just say the shed stays there, could you by any chance put gutters on it to help direct water if it created a problem?
absolutely.
I usually try to,
We've been trying to do anything we can on the property
well,
to,
you're sure.
I'm working on it every day.
You know, maybe you could funnel it more to the west
Yeah.
to keep water away from the folks. I understand they're.
I understand too.
Sure.
I'm willing to do anything it takes. I mean, if we gotta run,
But there are ways you
gutters
can get rid of water.
shut it to
Tile
the other end of
drainage.
the property, I would easily do that, because we are bringing soil in to level out some of the areas. We're trying to make it better. It's just, it's a low spot in the area over there, and it's where the water tends to go. But we've put gutters on the house. We're trying to aim the water away from the septic system and away from the, underneath the house, and it's just out. But yes, we could put gutters on it and run some kind of pipe towards the south, towards where our driveway is.
I mean, those things all help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Gord, any other questions? We gotta settle this thing. This is gone on way too long. What's your opinion?
I don't know. It's been a interesting, difficult path there that we've gone through with these guys.
Well, I'll be very honest, I'm a little concerned these things are brought up, but it's been going on for 4 or 5 months. And all of a sudden, all this comes, we just can't keep it. You gotta do something.
I'll make the motion. We'll see where it goes. Help me out with it here. I'll make a motion for Rebecca Schicker of 9625 Beechwood Park, to grant a variance from Town Code 520-21C 2A for a 0 rear east side setback where the code requires 35 feet, and from Town Code 520-21C 2B1 For a zero north side setback for the code requires no less than 6 feet for any lot less than 150 feet in width. Improvements will be made to the drainage, including gutters, to direct the water away from, to direct the water towards the driveway side. We reviewed the 5 criteria. This is the minimum setback that will grant relief. It's on a very substandard lot, and it's a type 2 seeker.
Sounds okay to me.
Yeah, if there's any additions, I'll amend it now.
So close to the residence.
When it's, I didn't literally measure it, but I believe it's the 10 feet from the residence, isn't it, Cheryl,
It's not 10 from either residence.
when we were there?
Well, I know it's not 10 feet from their house, but I believe it's 10 feet between in
No,
your
it's
house.
not 10 feet from mine. And 520, I believe dash 31 says 10 feet from a residence. I think, but I'm not an expert in anything. I think that has to do with fire load. And you've got more fire, so if that shed catches on fire from the fertilizer, the gas in the ATV, or anything else, is their house gonna catch fire? And is my house gonna catch fire? It's got to do with fire load and proximity. That's basic physics.
Didn't we talk about putting fire drywall up around the building?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
would that be helpful if I
yeah.
went all the way around the building?
Yeah, you did talk about that.
I mean, I don't care if I have to double it up. If it makes it safe for his house and it's not, you know what I mean? I don't want my neighbor to feel unsafe.
No,
Catch
we
that's
don't-
gonna
we
catch
don't
on
need
fire.
that. No. I didn't.
I'd be willing to pay the extra and put double firewall, drywall up if I had to. And then it's either that or we don't have any other option. We've got no room.
And that goes back to my ministerial. If you give him that variance, was it in the notice?
But you can't give up that variance. It wasn't in the-
Yeah, all I can do is make a motion on the 2 that were published.
So you're causing a problem, so.
So we can add conditions like drainage. Drainage would help, or if you so choose to use fireboard, that we can put that in a motion. We can.
I would be glad to do
We can't
anything.
change what we're, the
Right.
dimensions.
No,
Norman, I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm trying to be polite, actually. All I'm saying is, you will still have a non-compliant shed and a basis for my action.
So,
And I don't want my neighbor to go out and spend $500 on drywall when I'm in state supreme. I'm really trying to be polite. I know it sounds like I'm a shithead,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to be polite.
so they would actually have to apply for that variance also. The shed would be out of compliance at this time. You'd have to notice them to give them a violation. They'd have to apply for a variance, and they'd have to come back before the board to get, to see if they can, get a variance for that.
And I
Multiple.
think we should have the fire marshal come and look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
And-
definitely do
Yeah,
that.
multiple variances.
Well, they can grant the 2 variances today.
Well, no, I'm talking, but I'm talking about, and I'm trying to be polite because I'm telling you the game that I'm playing.
I really don't know if you're telling us anything beyond.
Well, the distance from the height of the wall,
Opinion.
on the wall within the 8 feet.
All I can do is make a motion
Right.
on the 2 variances that were requested in the publication. That's what I did.
And if they're out of code, you'll have to go give them a violation.
Mhm.
They'll have to come back and make another application before the board to see if they're willing to give you that. The fire marshal needs to get out there to make sure that it's safe.
Right, that, I think would be
We'll go out there on
a
Friday.
definitely.
So
Okay,
We'll go out there Friday.
fair enough.
if you could not keep anything flammable, the fertilizer or anything like
I
that.
won't keep anything on that side of the house with any kind of flammables or anything.
Until,
I
because you're gonna
have
get a code
I have a
violation.
lawnmower over there right now, so I'll move that to the other side of the house.
We don't know if this motion's even gonna pass or
Right.
not, so we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Correct, you're right. Right.
It doesn't even have a second as of now, so.
Do I have a second or hear a second? Motion made by Rocky Ellsworth, second by Eddie Hay to approve the two variances for Rebecca Scheiker, 9625 Beechwood Park, with the condition of possibly helping with drainage if needed. And did I forget anything more?
Well, he was gonna prove the drainage, and that's all I had.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Norman Vaz,
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth,
Aye.
Ed Hay.
Aye.
Kyle Rock.
Aye.
Jonathan Goldberg.
Carried, okay, we'll see where it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
And thank you for coming, I.
No, we're good, we're good. I'm a little passionate, we got a job to do.
Now, I was gonna say to Rebecca, before you put money into it,
Yeah.
wait for the fire marshal's inspection and
Okay,
like that.
Friday then?
This, I think it's Friday.
Because
he is-
all this variances did is, okay, your location,
Yeah,
but
so we won't.
there still could be other issues that we couldn't cover in the motion I made.
We appreciate it. We're
Thank
sorry.
you, guys.
So, yeah,
Don't be sorry, you kids.
I know. We're just trying to do
You bought us
what's, we don't want
something
anybody to be
around. All
unhappy
we're
about it.
trying to do is help you out temporarily.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate this came up, that we've had so many public hearings, and now all of a sudden this crops up, and it just bothers me a little bit.
Yeah,
but like I say, don't put money into it until
I won't.
you see if there's more situations.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
your help, big time.
Thank you
Carol.
very much.
Okay, before Friday, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Okay, see what's
Okay.
a full-time job too, so we will be
Okay.
in this week.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again, guys.
good night, guys.
You kids been super. Ooh. My blood pressure's a little high right now. All right, Frederick Arms. Let's get something on. Hi, Mr. Arms, how are you?
And you?
I've been better. Okay, you would like to replace the existing shed with a little larger one, correct?
Like 4x40.
Okay? Alrighty, you're going to remove the existing one,
It is, yeah.
okay? Any questions from the board? This will be a pole barn?
It is, yeah. It's gonna be 24x40 with 10-foot walls.
Okay.
Same roof line as my garage that's out front.
Okay.
Same, that's gonna match the color of the house, the tan roof. I am asking, I gotta change the variances because my neighbor is here and we spoke outside. And instead of, I would like a 5-foot variance so that I'm 10 foot off the lot line on the west side rather than 8.
Okay, so you want
Go to the east farther.
okay, so this is gonna take a bigger variance, right? It's gonna be smaller.
Correct, correct.
Otherwise, I was worried I'm gonna have to republish it.
No, no.
You want to move it further east, further off of your neighbor's house.
Correct. Yeah,
That we can do, right, Cheryl? As long as it's
What's
We need
the,
to ask
what's the
advice
distance
of
you want
the
it off the
attorney.
lot line?
Right, we're going.
10.
You wanted 10.
Right.
instead of 8. I wanted it 8.
We published 7.
Right, but I think Cheryl got it flip-flopped. I wanted it 8, and we're gonna go to 10.
I never heard 10 before.
Well, because Eric is,
Oh, you
my
just talked
neighbor's
to
here.
this folk?
We just
You know,
spoke.
we just spoke outside.
Okay.
It's the first time that any opposition is, him and I actually staked it out. We went out with a tape and whatnot,
Okay.
and we agreed at 9 feet, and then we're gonna go with 10. I didn't know that his wife was that upset.
So then.
There's been nothing brought across the-
5-foot variance.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We could do that.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah, as long as it's
can-
Last
less.
year, it's
Okay.
posted.
Correct. Yeah. Anything else for it?
Fair enough?
I,
Well, wait.
Let us just, let
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
You're not running
At
the
this
meeting.
point in time, I'll open up a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against it, please give your name and address. Go ahead.
Eric Floyd, 418 Hamlin Road.
Okay?
As Butch just said, we did agree to the 10 foot. And my only concern would be as long as it's properly surveyed, would be my only concern.
Okay?
As long as his lot has been properly surveyed and we don't have any mix up between the two lot lines, other than that, I have no problem with it.
Okay. So you think the 10 foot's fine?
Yeah.
See, I don't know exactly where they are there, but.
Well, Rich put that one ribbon post in the back.
Yeah, okay.
And Eric and I went off of my, from my survey map, off the side of the house over 24 foot, and we ran a string tape down.
Yeah, we just get a rough idea of where it is, or where the lot line is.
And if I gotta have Rich come back, I'll have him come back.
As long as you people are happy.
Right.
Anything else?
No, it's almost like, I don't know, as long as the water sheds away from the houses,
Okay.
it's fine.
In the works, you saw Saturday how the ditching has kind of changed things a lot this year. It's, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, I know.
Yeah,
It's-
when that
It
water,
seems to
when that
me-
water comes out of that field, my leach system is right there. And it runs right into my leach system. And I can't even use the lower valve, my lower, valve for my house, because it won't let it leach.
It's been a bad one for many years.
Yeah. And it seems to be worse this year, I don't know why, I just,
Because it's just the way the ditch is directly to my leach
Been
system.
3 1/4 inches. didn't
I know. yeah.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak for or against this? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Okay, Rory.
It's easier to do that. You could have Rich come back, he'll put a couple stakes in.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to do it, but his waypoints, how they did it on mine, they started at Weiler Road. They came down and how they did the survey on this, so I'll have to call him, I'll call him on my way home and see if he can.
Anything else for it? I think,
You gonna put gutters on that or just divert water?
I will put gutters on if I have to, I'll try to divert it out into
Just see-
the field,
see what
but the worst thing is, it goes
Comes
right,
right back to you, yeah.
you know what I mean? It's tough to,
Be almost better just letting it come up.
the way the land rolls. I don't know, I wish we could all get consensus to have the ditch dug out around, out by Marsiglia's up to the road, I think it would all drain off then, I just think there's a high point
There's a
there.
big culvert on the road,
Right,
it would let that water shed away from my house.
Yeah.
The culvert was big,
yeah, by
and it's called, yeah.
the old
Across
lady,
the road.
where she's out in the new.
okay.
I think Eric's done there.
I'd make a motion that the application for Frederick and Chris Arms at 410 Hammond Center Road, seeking variance from town code, seeking relief from town code 52027C to build a 24 by 40 barn in the rear yard. They're seeking a 5-foot west side variance, where the code requires 15. We're gonna have that, so the building will be 10 feet from the property line. And they're seeking a 2-foot, 13-foot variance. They're seeking a 13-foot variance from the rear, where the building will be 2 feet from the lot line. We've discussed.
Yeah, so we need these in your motion.
We've got to do the 5 criteria.
Number one, whether undesirable change will be produced, character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby property will be created by the granting of the area variance. No. Number two, whether benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some feasible method other than an area variance. No. Whether requested area variance is substantial.
If you don't have a problem, I will.
Hey, enough.
Probably, yes. I don't know. It's pretty good sized piece of property. It's sets way back. Be yes or no? No? I don't think that it. Number four, whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood district. No, he's out of the country. Number five, whether the alleged difficulties are self-created with consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the zoning board of appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance.
You wanted to build it yourself. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll go back to mine.
yes.
It's a 5-foot west side setback and a 10-foot, 5-foot west side variance
10-foot.
for a 10-foot side setback and a 13-foot rear line setback where the building will be 2 feet from the property line. We've taken into consideration these 5 factors and just ask that you have the west side line surveyed so you know you're coming 10 feet off that west side lot line. So you're 10 feet onto your property and like you said, reading these maps and everything else.
Right.
Never really
Okay.
get a good solid, the true line on one side and then you can come off of there and you're good.
Okay.
And just do your best to it's replacing an existing shed and the existing shed will be removed. It's a type 2 seeker.
Second.
Motion made by Eddie, duly second by Carl Rod and Rocky Ellsworth to approve the area variance requested by Frederick and Chris Arms, 410 Hammond Center Road, as presented. Clerk, please call the vote.
Norman Vaz.
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth.
Aye.
Ed Hay.
Aye.
Carl Lot.
Aye.
Jonathan Vogel.
Aye.
Harry, okay, you're in business so far.
Before you construct anything, see Cheryl.
I will. Tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you for being patient.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night. See you.
Take care.
Kim Hawkins.
First, I want to apologize for the last one. I went home after February, counted out 4 weeks and wrote it down, forgetting that we were here on Tuesday for the holiday. I'm really sorry about that.
Hey, that's not a big deal.
I felt bad. I came Tuesday night and was, why was it so bad?
As long as you're healthy and okay, in my book, that's the most important. Okay, you would like to put up a fence on the east side of your property?
Yes.
What type?
Like, I know there's one on Curtis Road, but like the.
In other words,
orchard
American with the square holes like this?
side, it's got the bigger, like around the orchard, something like that.
Right, yes.
You can see through it.
Now, your reason for doing this?
Define property line. We might be putting trees on it. When our grandkids and my sister's grandkids, to know where their limits are when they get older, and they can run around out there. So that they won't bother other people.
And you're going down to one side, correct?
Yeah, pretty much across the south, east, west line
Yeah.
and down, and then the southerly of the north line to the east. The both far north and west will all be left alone.
Okay. Any other questions from any board members? If not, at this point in time, open up for a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this proposal, please give your name and address.
Robert Curran, 380 Walker Road.
Okay,
The only reason for this fence is going up is it's a spike fence. I was in the middle of buying this property, and they went right underneath me to the realtor, which I have a case with the lawyers and all that, that's not their problem. But they ended up taking the property right out from underneath me. I already got a signed contract with the lawyer, or with the realtor. So, her husband, boyfriend, whatever you want to call him, he got caught facing our property with his trail cams, filming us and taking pictures of us from the trail cams on our property. And the only reason I want to put the fence up is only along my property line only. So that's a spike right there. Two, I got grandkids, they're like 4-wheelers on our property. Big mistake in running to the fence, get their nut cut, that's not right. The deer population that run through there and the wildlife, there's no reason for that. On a dead area in the back for fencing.
okay, any,
We have other neighbors here to have. I believe Cheryl's got one from one of the other neighbors.
It was presented to the chairperson.
The spike, the fence is at a pure spike. It only goes along my property line.
The alarm's going off in the courthouse back there. Is there someone to call?
Yeah, there is someone who could call maybe.
Okay, it's
Thank you.
the sirens are going off back there, huh? Oh, yeah, it's loud.
Okay, thank you.
I'll see you later.
Thanks for.
your property, number is what number?
380.
380, this was ours. Am I supposed to read? I can read.
The property you're talking about is 388 and they live at 400.
Okay.
So, the only fence going up is along my property line. The whole thing.
This letter is from Larry Spencer. It is, apparently he can't make it.
That was last month. So the highlighter area is the same thing he
Good
wanted.
afternoon, yeah, okay. Good afternoon, Cheryl. I just wanted to drop a quick note on my wife and I opposing the fence variance. I'm wondering why we were not notified about this. First reason is that the natural wildlife corridor in our neighborhood will be blocked. Second, the fence is only 2 borders, so it's not to keep pets in or wildlife out. Also, the eyesore it will create in our country family neighborhood, probably not the best wording, but I hope you can get the drift. Thank you, Larry Spencer, 320 Walker Road.
And I also had written beforehand last month ago that everyone within 500 feet was sent letters out. I or the town cannot be responsible if they don't make it there. And
Right,
we're all
right.
mailed out.
Absolutely. Well, there are in the town of Hamlin many fences, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can put up a 4-foot, no questions asked.
The only issue for us is the height of the fence. If it can be 6
Fences
foot
are allowed.
instead of 4, but if it was a 4-foot fence, it wouldn't be before us or anything.
Correct.
So all we're looking at is the question of the height.
Do you understand that?
Oh, I do that.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm just trying to explain to everybody, that's all we're talking about is a 2-foot, when you have a perfect right to put the fence up.
I just, because I'm the one, it won't be maintained, I'm not mowing 5 acres. I wanted to be able to have visibility by having the height to it. So that when the wild grasses and stuff get up to this height, we could still see it. So that it wouldn't be an obstacle for somebody that wanted to. I see them around in the orchard, that are, that aren't close.
Yeah.
And they aren't, I'm not totally boxing them in because the whole north property lines conservation district, that's already posted by DEC. That's why we didn't go all the way back to the other line. There was no reason for it. The deer could still get all the way through and over to the creek on both on the west and the north. And across the creek and into the fields behind. Usually,
Like I said, it's only a spike fence.
First name, yes, would you like to speak?
Oh, yes, I would.
Okay, just give your name and address, please.
Terry Cook, 4 Glen Levette Drive, Rochester.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't open my mouth, but I think the main reason is for the fence is the points that she made, but also because, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Bob,
Doesn't know his boundaries and has gone on that other property in the past. What it did.
it's because I was in the middle of buying it. Since they bought it, I have not stepped on it.
I didn't say you did. No, I didn't say you
Don't
did.
make assumptions then.
I'm just saying that,
Well, I understand all this. I mean, I'm not here to settle a property dispute between two neighbors. I'm not going to get into that,
Well, that's not.
you know, and,
no, I understand. I'm just,
okay?
and I don't think Mrs. Huntley would have a problem with 4 foot. I don't think that's gonna keep the wildlife in or out. They can jump it, the deer.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against this? Okay, at this point in time, have anything further to say? You've said what you,
Let's see what I have to say.
okay, thank you. I close the public hearing. Hey, board, now we're down to 2 foot or 6 foot? 10 foot.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, yeah, they have orders, okay.
It's the same type of fence. It's gonna have a big
other questions before I read the 5? Okay. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby property will be created by the granting of the area variance. No. Number 2, will the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some feasible method other than an area variance? No, did you?
Because she wants more than 4 foot.
Right, she wants more than 4 foot, okay? Whether the requested area variance is substantial.
Yeah, taking a fence from 4 foot to 6 foot, I don't think substantial.
Number 4, whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood district. No. They are pretty opaque. I mean, you can hardly see them, other than the post. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created with consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the zoning board of appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. That's usually yes.
Yeah, I mean, she wants a 2 foot height,
She
so.
wants a 6 foot fence.
Yeah.
If she didn't want a 6 foot fence, she could put a 4 foot up.
So I guess the question is, do you want to allow the extra 2 foot? That's all we're talking about. The fence we cannot stop one way or the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or any?
I'll make a motion for Kim Hopkins, 388 Walker Road, seeking relief from Town Code 520-29H to install a merchant type fence at a 6 foot height. Town Code states fences cannot be more than 4 foot height. This is an RPL zone, Ag district, type 2 secret. And we've reviewed the 5 criteria. Second.
Motion made by Carl Ross, second by Rocky Ellsworth to approve the application of Kim Hawkins, 388 Walker Road, for the addition of 2 foot on top of a 4 foot fence. Clerk, please call the vote.
Norman Vaz,
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth,
Aye.
Ed Hay.
Aye.
Carl Ross.
Aye.
Jonathan Goldberg.
Aye.
Okay, and carried so far.
Sorry about last time.
That's okay, that's,
Thank you.
you have a good evening. John and Mary Testa.
They're the ones that have changed it till May. They're on vacation. And they
Oh,
didn't
okay.
get
All right.
anyone to come and represent them.
Okay.
John, did you make out okay with?
I'm still going off now.
Oh, what?
The alarm stopped up there.
Oh, so cute. Oh, but that's nothing.
Douglas Law.
Yeah.
I pronounce that right?
Yep, good.
Wow. 512 Walker Road?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like to do?
I am, want to put a 40 foot by 56 pole barn in front of my house. It's actually gonna be an existing cornfield right now. My house is 800 feet set back from the road. And I want to put a pole barn up in front of that.
Oh, you're building way back in.
Towards the road more.
Building up front.
Where's the?
No, I mean, your house is gonna be way.
My house is already up there.
House is there.
The house is there.
Oh, it's there already, okay.
Ed looks at it every day, so he knows it's there.
Good thinking.
So yeah, the pole barn can be in front of the house. And, on the drawing, you can see where it's kind of
Sure, I see it,
located.
okay. And what is the size of it?
40 foot by 56 foot, and it's a 12-foot ceiling.
Okay.
Is that, size allowed under the zoning, and do we need a variance for the size of the building too?
We don't really have sizes, we don't have sizes.
The height?
Just the height,
Okay.
I don't have my code book with me.
35 feet to the roof line,
I can't speak, you know, so
like that.
I know some sheds or garages are 15 feet.
I mean, it's less than our house, that's for sure. It's only gonna have.
Yeah,
412.
If you're 12 foot, you won't be
With the 412 roof, yeah.
No, you won't have it, you won't be
Probably
12
16
feet.
feet. We are gonna put two cupolas on it, but those are like 3 foot high. It's, just make it look very nice.
Okay. Any other questions?
From your map, it'd be like 405 feet back from the road.
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the only variance you need is just from it up
Trying to.
because the house is far better.
And like you said, the house is so far back off the road.
Yeah.
It should actually look appropriate, it look like it belongs.
We're hopefully gonna match the color to the house, hopefully.
Any, like 113 feet, 105 feet from,
That's from the neighboring property,
right,
which there's no house back there or in front of there.
Yeah, it will be behind the neighbor's foundation line also.
Okay, we can schedule a public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we schedule a public hearing for Douglas Block, 512 Walker Road, seeking relief from Town Code 520-27C. States with detached private garage and car front main foundation. Our public hearing will be May 17th, after 7:30.
second,
Motion made by Carl Roth, second by Rock Ellsworth, to schedule a public hearing for Douglas Bluff, 512 Walker Road, for variance needed for the construction of a non-agricultural storage barn. It's May 7th, 7:30. Clerk, please pull the vote.
Norman Bass.
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth.
aye.
Carl Roth.
Aye.
Ed Hayes.
Aye.
Jonathan Vogel.
Carried. Okay, have your $75 prior, I don't have the date.
Drop it off to you.
Just drop it off to me.
All right.
Could you, on the Saturday before the public hearings, that'll be May 15th, sometime after 10:30, we always go out and view the
Already
property.
staked out for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And after tonight, you can
Already done.
understand why we do the properties.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's already staked out.
Okay.
Ed didn't have a beer. Keep buying.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Thomas Cirque.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How are you?
Thank you for being patient.
Okay, I understand this one. I'm here to try to get a variance to put a 32-foot by 40-foot pole barn out in my backyard. The actual structure that'll be enclosed will be 24 by 40, and then I'll have 12-foot lean-to on the east end. Put my camping trailer underneath it in the wintertime. I'm asking for a 6-foot variance on the east property line, so the structure will actually be 9 feet off the property line on the east side. There's an existing, they call it a shed, but it's an 18 by 24-foot barn there now, roughly right in the middle of the lot. That is coming down. The new structure the front of the new structure will be the same frontage as the old barn. And as you can see, I don't know, did you give them a copy of the tape map?
Everything.
Okay, so you can see that the east side of that barn now is 35 feet 4 inches off of the east property line. I'm looking to come 26 feet, if my math is correct, off that barn is where the east side of the new structure is going to start. The old shed will be taken down. That's what I'm here seeking.
Okay.
The height of the roof, or the ceiling height will be 12 foot on the barn. I believe that'll put the actual peak at about 16 to 18 feet. It's going to be a 312 pitch on the one side.
Okay.
So the lean-to is part, so the lean-to is what will be at the 9 foot off the property line.
So basically you're looking at a 20 foot by 40 foot structure. Are you familiar with what a mono truss is?
Yep.
It's like a half truss. So that ridge will be right above that one wall, and then off of that will be a 12-foot overhang for the RV to go in there.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, we'll schedule a public hearing
Okay.
for next month.
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for Thomas Cirque, 986 Hamlin Center Road, seeking relief from Town Code 520-27C for a 6-foot side setback variance. Sometime after 7:30 on May 17th.
Motion made by Rocky Ellsworth, second by Eddie Pate, to schedule a public hearing for Thomas J. Cirque, 986 Hamlin Center Road. The variance needed for the construction of a pole barn for May 17th after 7:30. Clerk, please poll the vote.
Norman Bosch,
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth,
Aye.
Carl Ross,
Aye.
Ed Hay,
Aye.
Jonathan Vogel.
Carrie, okay, Ms. Cirque, you're, give your money in prior to, I don't have the date.
This week. This week will be fine.
Early in May sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll get it to you.
yeah, I
One
know.
was the 17th of May, so. And it wasn't happening before, many days before the meeting.
Has to be in just before the public hearing date, which is.
Public hearing is May 17th.
Probably you'd like the money by May 3rd, or is it somewhere in
Yeah,
there?
like May 4th. Mhm.
Now, same as I told the previous gentleman, we'll come out sometime after 10:30 on May 15th to view the property.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll be staked, there's already a stone pad there, that I had there that bring some. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
any
very much.
questions? Good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, Gloria and Joe Sukowski.
Zukowski, that's me. Very complicated.
Oh, you're the
Now we smile. And it is very complicated, but not complicated. She's supposed to have 1.0 acre, and she's got 0.5, I think 0.59 or something, yeah, so doesn't quite have an acre to have chickens. What we have here is a whole process.
You just got 6.
Yeah, I don't have any. I've had to get permission first.
This is a rarity.
And normally they come in and they've already got the chickens and they've been seen by.
Yeah.
That's a cute little
I let
chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
the
become
chicken
nice.
coop is
Oh, it is nice, yeah.
Well, and then, I thought maybe if the chickens go well, maybe I would get a nice Amish built chicken coop. But I had to make sure I could have chickens first. And since I've never had chickens before, I don't want to get carried away. I thought 6 was a good number.
Good idea.
Just a quick question. Have you had any experience raising chickens?
No, none, 0. My
Just
husband,
wanted-
my husband has, his
Okay.
family used to have chickens,
Okay, good.
but I don't want, they won't be
Wow.
free range chickens.
Couple of us old farmers have raised chickens. They can be a headache sometimes, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I do have 2 kids and a husband, so I get it.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you ahead, if we schedule your public hearing, when you come before us, kind of be prepared to tell us what you're gonna do with the waste. Have a location so we can see where you're gonna keep them,
Okay,
and, kind of what surface they're gonna be on in that, so that it's not a mess with a smaller yard, you know what I'm saying?
sure.
But I'm getting ahead of myself there.
Yeah.
But I just wanted her to come prepared next month, because it's all questions we're gonna ask.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Any other questions? If not,
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for Gloria and Joe Bukowski, 500 Cook Road, seeking relief from Town Code 520-41B1A1 to have 6 chickens on less than 1 acre sometime after 7:30 on May 17th.
Second.
motion made by Rocky Ellsworth, seconded by Carl Roth to schedule a public hearing for Gloria and Joe Sukowski of 500 Cook Road for the raising of 6 chickens for May 17th at 7:30. Clerk, please call the vote.
Norman Vaz,
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth,
Aye.
Carl Roth,
Aye.
Ed Hay,
Aye.
Jonathan Boulder.
Okay, we're all set. Have your money in prior to May 4th.
Sounds good, thank you.
And we'll be out on May 15th to, see what you have for neighbors and where you want them located like that.
Sure, sounds good.
Well,
I'll be there.
I think you live in a pretty open area, but chickens draw a lot of neighbors, so.
Yeah, well, I
They
think,
want eggs.
Not like your shed does.
well, right. We have, let's see, Mr. Brightly owns the field that goes around half of the property, and then we have neighbors who are fairly close by on the east side.
Okay, well, we'll be out to view it, so we have a feel of what the situation is.
Sounds good, I'll see you guys.
Okay. Okay, Mary Jane.
Last but not least.
Yeah,
I
This is a
I thought I
little
was
different
gonna
than
fall
most meetings.
asleep tonight, but I guess not.
Let me apologize and thank you for being patient.
No
This
problems.
has been a crazy meeting.
Yeah, but I'm hoping not all your meetings are like this.
You're not the only one. I'm not very happy about it. Okay, the doc.
The doc, the process.
Okay, we were there Saturday, as you know.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you can see why we view property.
Yeah, good idea, right?
Yes, so that, if neighbors, anything else, we have a feel for the situation.
Yeah, they come out of the woodwork at the last hour.
but I've read you got your okay from the.
Yep.
That's
Yep,
the big
the-
one.
Yeah, all of them, I think there's 5 of them
Yes.
that okayed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no problems at all with it.
You're in an area where you and your neighbors have excellent break walls.
Yeah,
That's good because, well, you've lived on the lake, so you know.
yeah.
Okay. You got that one?
Oh, gosh.
You gotta do it all, Mary Jane, I'm telling you.
Do that, please. Well, that's because you're so good.
Got a slight headache after this one.
I'll make a motion to grant relief from Town Code 259-15 for construction of a 100-foot dock to be built in a coastal erosion hazard area and structural hazard area. 85 feet will be into the water, 15 feet will be on land. This is a pre-existing lot. No other reasonable site is available. All reasonable means and measures to mitigate adverse impacts on natural systems and their functions and values will be incorporated into the activities designed at the property owner's expense. The development will be made safe from flood and erosion damage. This is the minimum to provide relief. There's been no formal complaints from the neighbors. All permits have been obtained. I think that's it.
I'll second the motion. I think you got it all there.
Motion made by Rocky Ellsworth, second by Eddie Haight, to approve the coastal erosion structural hazard area permit. And presented with the clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Norman Box.
Aye.
Rocky Ellsworth.
Aye.
Carl Lot.
Aye.
Ed Hay.
Aye.
Jonathan Goldberg.
Hi.
Thank you.
Carrie, okay, Mary Jane,
All right,
you're halfway through.
yeah, one more.
We'll see you May 3rd.
May 3rd. Are you gonna send me a notice out
Yep,
for
I'll
that?
send you a notice, yep. May 3rd, and that's the last one. That's the build within 100 feet of the lake.
Okay, yep, good. All right, thank you, guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Yeah, normally,
Normally it's not quite.
Holy mackerel, I give you all a lot of credit. That's all I have to say. You'd have to put duct tape on my mouth. Have a good evening.
Are they still out there, or is it the other couple?
No, it's just,
What's going on out there? I don't know.
I think they're,
Then Hamlin ran into the couple over here who was leaving and started a huge
Oh,
argument.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's when Mary Jane got up. and
We were in the
went
restroom, and she goes, I'm going out there right now. I go, please don't. She goes, I'm going right now.
Oh,
She
you
went-
didn't stop
she
her.
took care. She went right in at him.
Yeah, and
you
then
don't
she
monkey
came in.
around.
And then, it was Bob and the other lady got into it out here too. But I heard them go out the door before I could get up. So, I don't know who's still out there.
it's the two kids.
Oh,
And they're, I don't know who the guy is, but they're like,
Oh.
they're
You mean
It's the neighbor to the south.
Oh.
Neighbor to the north. He's the neighbor to the north.
The guy with the hat on?
Oh,
This is the neighbor to the
Mr.
south.
Tyrone?
No, that's the neighbor to the north. This is the neighbor to the south. Because Mr. Tyrone pointed him out and told me that was the owner of the property to the south.
Oh.
Yeah.
Barrows, Paul, yes.
Something like that.
Which his family agreed to the easement, the lot boundary line. Okay. I didn't see that he was here. I didn't see.
It don't matter. See, anything from anybody?
Nope, I already gave my update this
Did you?
morning.
Okay.
When I first came in,
Yep,
we're, so I'm very happy that we had a very good outcome in court today.
we have very good.
And, we'll be moving on to Hamlin next week. So we'll see how it goes there, and so that's all I got for you, except for, marijuana law. We're gonna be working
Jeez.
on that in the next, zoning meeting, so, whether the town wants to opt in or opt out, did we make a motion to have a public forum on that one? I think we did, didn't we?
Well, we're gonna set the date.
Oh, okay.
Did we already do it for May 26th?
Well, we kind of,
Kind
not
of.
formally, but I mean, we'll do it formally at the meeting, but
Oh, I
yeah.
got you.
26.
Yeah, because that's,
Yeah, the forum was
pretty intense. The town can opt in or opt out, there's a
Okay.
lot of things. There's two things you can opt in or opt out of, but the other 20 licenses you have no control over.
Wow. I've got a good friend who lives in Colorado. I wish him luck, because it's not all gravy
I know.
by any means. That's it?
Yeah, so that'll be the next,
Okay, but
zoning workshop. So come,
Thursday,
we have, no, it's
Next
not,
month.
next month, right?
next month, okay.
Well, the 20th, I think, Thursday the 20th.
Well, I have just a quick question. I received a phone call, I think Cheryl did too, from Brightly Farms. They are requesting to increase their labor camp. And they would like to, which we grant the permission for labor camps. But Dean want to know what, see, they're using all government labor now, which the government says you will provide housing, period. So for this year, he would like to put temporarily a mobile home,
On the trail.
but then probably by next year, they want to build probably a camp to hold maybe 60, 70 folks, I'm not sure of numbers. The question he asked, should he come in front of this board and put it all and ask for just the mobile trailer, or ask for the whole thing at one time?
Well, mobile trailers only gonna hold 3 people.
I was gonna say, so you said put one mobile home on there,
For now.
well, you can't put 60 people in one.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, he's got to, how he's gonna do it, he don't know yet.
Oh, okay,
Because he can't afford to build the whole complex.
that's right now,
Yeah.
okay.
He just want to know when he comes in front of the board, which he wants to come next month, should he ask for the whole complete thing, or just ask for a temporary mobile home?
Well, is he gonna have to go in front of the planning board to get
You probably would have to go for a site plan,
first site plan?
especially for
Yeah,
something as large as
Yeah.
60 to 80.
yeah. So I would say that he'd come and do the whole thing at once.
That was my thought.
Because if he's gotta go through the planning board site plans, he's gotta get an engineer out there, get a site plan done, it takes steps to get there.
And
That was my idea.
Yeah.
I agree with.
When we used to grant the permits, it was always in existing camps.
Yeah.
Because we used to have to grant the permits
Mhm.
every
Well,
year.
it's already an existing house on the property that was
Right,
farm
it
labor
is
camp.
it is a
But
little,
the code states, even if that you can't add on to one without going to the zoning board.
he's already got a permit for the home.
Okay.
He owns all the land around it, yeah. It was just a question, I didn't know. I told him I'd call him tomorrow.
And I thought they had dropped, only that was last year when Joe came to me. I think,
Well, you
I
know,
think
the
when
government,
COVID,
they're getting tougher all the time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna guess that there's certain regulations that they have in these
Sure.
houses, and the house he has probably doesn't meet regulations.
That's all I got. Cheryl?
today was a halfway decent day. For code enforcement.
Before 7 o'clock.
I will say that, a lot of persons are very creative in their reasons why they don't get building permits. People have paid down in Hamlin very well because of that. So I try to explain to them, they should always look online, look in the email newsletter, look in the quarterly newsletter. I never change my ad, it's always about permit fees. So, other than that,
Okay.
so, it's all good.
Cindy?
The tree giveaway is, April 24th from 9 to 11. I finally have something, I'm so excited.
I am so doggone proud of you.
I'm so tired of even acknowledge what they thank you.
And it's not even negative.
No, and that's all I got.
Okay, don't let me forget, this goes to your sister.
Okay.
Oh, that's something.
Last but not least, Jennifer.
Wow.
So that's
Do we get hazardous duty pay for tonight?
Wow.
Goodness. Intense. Actually, it was more intense out there, I think, than it was, way more intense out there than it was in here, but, no, everyone covered a couple of things. I was gonna talk about the cannabis, that we're working on. So the public meeting is just to get public input. We don't know whether people are, where they're leaning. Do they wanna have, should we opt out of doing dispensaries? Should we have dispensaries? So we just kind of want to get a feel for what people in town are thinking. So that's tentatively the 26th. It's a Wednesday. Before our town board meeting, we'll host a public meeting here in the gym. We're also working on rental code for short-term and long-term rental properties in the town. We don't currently have a code, so we've worked on that a little bit. I think you kind of finalized it, so.
Finalized, I think you're gonna do resolution and notice,
Next
next meeting,
meeting.
yeah.
And then battery storage for solar, I think I mentioned that at our last meeting too. We started looking at that, but we definitely have to look at it further. The LWRP is being revamped, and there's gonna be a public meeting for that. There's gonna be 2 public informational meetings. The first one's gonna be May 19th at Hamlin Beach. And that will have different stations for people to go through and see what the current LWRP is, what some changes people might want to see come out of this revamping of the LWRP. And then I have a question about our hot button item tonight on Beechwood. So they're in the LWRP.
And it's consistent, what they have is consistent with the LWRP.
Okay. So does conservation, they went out and looked at it and said it was consistent?
Gene Pop, yes.
Okay, all right, because I know this gentleman, that's one of the points he brought up, was saying, it's in the LWRP, it's in the LWRP, but, I don't know so much to tell him, but if they went out there and it was consistent, it was consistent.
I wanted to, couldn't get a word in that.
I know that. But that was my only question about that.
And we looked at that property multiple times, and you can see why.
It's a bad situation from day one. And all we were trying to do is just, nothing else, just trying to help the kids out. They really got not very good representation from the people they dealt with. But they've been very good. The young man will do anything you ask him to. So that's where we're coming from. And it really bothered me because we've had multiple hearings, never heard anything till tonight. And that starts my gears running.
So is this the first time this gentleman got a notice, or has he had gotten notices in the past?
Got notices in the past.
All the time.
Just living on his side of the house, so it's involving.
We have to look at the character of the neighborhood, and that, you're probably familiar with Crawford. Okay, and there's lots of sheds, it's all small lots. That is one place that sewer is gonna be a saving grace,
Absolutely, yeah.
But,
And as far as I know, he brought that up too. I mean, that's like a surefire deal. I don't think there's, a question about it, so.
Well, I know it's going in, and the kids told me they're in for it, so that takes care of that whole situation.
But,
That'll help them to hook up to it.
Well, you know,
Kids, yeah.
everybody,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
everybody.
Well, you probably should go out and measure how far that shed is from each property.
Shed roof,
Well, the shed has to be 10 feet from the,
Yeah.
from the,
yeah,
From the home.
so,
but the roof encompasses that,
okay.
so it's not just the wall.
Right.
It's the
Right,
overhead.
so if you probably should go out there and measure that,
Mhm.
because if it's not in compliance, then you gotta issue them a code violation, and they need to come back in and make another application.
And they still have a stop work order.
Oh, they still have a stop work order?
We never approved the location for it, so,
Oh, okay.
so they still have a stop work order on it. I will do that this week.
and you, well, you mentioned the fire marshal, right?
I'll talk to Ron, and we'll go out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he said.
We go on a lot of inspections together. I think we're going on like 4 this week.
Okay.
It's always
well,
good to have, 2 sets of ears to listen to people, you know?
Yeah, that'd be the best thing to do because that,
Yeah, we'll do that. Now that we've moved it to that side, we'll measure that.
And I can't imagine that if that was my property, and I knew that my septic, I'm not gonna be running stuff over the leach
No, I
lines
don't
the
know where
entire
he got that
time.
from. If when he called me, the neighbor called me, he never even mentioned that. Didn't even know until he spoke to you, and then he brought it up to you, right? So it's like, he didn't know what he was
That-
saying.
I was really looking for that when I went. Same day.
He says there's a board, plywood cover out there. I'm guessing if it was there, you guys would have seen it.
I saw some plywood, but I didn't lift
But
it
I
until I
didn't pick
would
it
go
up.
under.
It's there, but nobody was driving over it.
You can see he's been going back and forth across there, probably moving stuff, and
So,
But the plywood's not anywhere near the shed.
now it's halfway up the house.
Yeah.
And it's closest to the
I
house.
don't know what it's there, it could be just a plywood
He
laying.
could have put it there because it's a wet spot, he just didn't want to run it out.
yeah,
We
we,
saw the house, it is, I've never, ever seen a lot like that. The kids, did they make it wrong? Yes. Is it their fault? They were young, they got
okay,
plywood.
well,
I like
But then, that breaks my heart.
what's your legal term? Caveat?
Well, at least they went the other way with it.
Buyer beware.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're young. You're right. It was a lot by the water. It was cheap.
Well, actually, it's across the road from the water, right?
Well, by the water, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
A waterfront community.
Okay, okay, that's the problem.
There is a proper term.
Yeah, there you go.
so,
Sign Sherlock.
for me, it's just a shed, it's not the end of the world, it's not like you're building a big complex. Anyway, see what happens.
Okay.
Yes, aye.
I have no further business, I'm over here.
Okay, thank you. We're all set.
Well, I normally don't have a Jack Daniels, but you're playing more. There'll be one tonight. Over ice.
Yeah, I told you, my arm was gonna walk behind.
Bending.
My alarm was going off at 9.
Well,
I silenced it.
Their inspector, he was approved.
all right.
You know,
No.
that's a pure sign of.
Yeah, I'm ready to be clear.
The
Oh, yeah.
Make that motion. Did I see someone?
Oh, the guy's gonna file an article, as long as you approved it, you file an article.
Wildlife should be respected, and all the neighbors.
He doesn't like Cheryl, I'll tell you that right now. Cheryl already knows it. He point blank told me he didn't like her. He thinks she knows everything wrong.
Talk about the wildlife.
That Tom has done everything wrong in this.
When he starts with all these things.
But he kept going on that when we did things wrong, why we
You
don't
want to
open
send
the
him a
meeting.
letter?
Cheryl didn't open it.
Cheryl did. I was looking right at the minutes, and we made a motion last month to,
We don't have to go to service. No, they have.
I think he's got mine.
Okay, because
And-
well, he said if the,
He already did know about it,
the
was I
sewer
talked
comes
to him a
close,
month
he'll pay
ago.
for it, put it across the street.
Yeah, so I think he's got mine. Yeah.
Bring it in.
Alright.
That's the name of the business.
Good,
Cheryl, how do you leave when you just hit
Oh,
leave?
damn, that's all I got.
Cheryl, just hit leave meeting or something, end stream?
This is the new computer.
It's right